always ask for more, and they call me Mr. Natural, on down to the health food store.
Welcome back to Doug Pagitt Radio, 12:33 on our Memorial Day weekend, and as you might know, every other week we're joined by natural health coach Shelley Pagitt, who gives us a health tip or two about how we can live as people of natural health in our world. And there's people who have often wondered, they said, hey, this is religious radio that's not quite right, and I wonder why you all do that religious, or why you do that natural health bit. Why do you have a natural health coach on a religious show? Well, here's the reason. Because we think that part of the conversation that religious people ought to be having is not just on their topic, but also talking about other things of importance. So that's why we talk about politics, we'll talk about holidays, that's why we'll talk about natural health, and we think that people benefit from it. So if you get a little added benefit from listening to the program because you become a healthier person, we think that's a good idea. Well, natural health coach Shelley Pagitt meets with people personally, and then is like a personal coach for them in natural health areas. And she's off doing that this morning, but is good enough to join us. Good morning, natural health coach Shelley Pagitt.
Good morning.
Wow. A lot of you there. Hey, Randon and I were talking here, and I don't know what your topic is for this week, but Randon was really confused about that whole dental thing from a couple of weeks ago. So he might have a question for you about that, because he thought that lemons were supposed to be acidic and then bad for your teeth, and he said, well, good, because I've been bothered by that whole. He was confused by that whole conversation from a couple of weeks ago. Do you have time for a follow-up question from the sound engineer?
Certainly.
Oh dear, yes. See, right at the end there, we were talking about the need to balance the acid in the stomach, and I remember being told by dentists, actually, that drinking lemon juice or, sucking on lemon is actually will erode the enamel of your teeth. And we were talking about dental health, so I guess that was my question. What's going on there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we were talking about dental health, and I think one of the things we were talking about with that had to do with bad breath.
Mm-hmm.
And so bad breath coming from trying to get people to understand that it primarily comes from the digestive system, the digestive tract, is what I was referring to, not necessarily to whether or not it's good for the outer enamel layer of your teeth.
Mm.
So that, I'm not exactly sure of, how much or whatever, but typically when I'm making a recommendation to somebody, I would be saying, dilute the apple cider vinegar, dilute the lemon in water. So not necessarily sucking on a whole lemon or eating wedges of lemon, but putting it in water and then drinking it to try to get it to your intestines rather than, in your mouth.
Gotcha.
Or just a funnel, right down your throat, just bypass the teeth.
As opposed to swishing it around in your mouth.
Yeah, we're not necessarily swishing that around now. Chlorophyll, when I talked about chlorophyll for your mouth and for your teeth and for your gums, swishing chlorophyll, again, diluted with water, is really good for that.
Well,
Even though it would turn your teeth green, you need to, brush your teeth afterward, but really, really good for that, especially if you floss your teeth first and then do that if you have, an abscess or an infection or some irritant in your gums.
All right, good. Thank you. All right, natural health coach, what do you have for our Memorial Day tip of the every other week?
Tip of the every other week? Well, I've been thinking about this, as I do every week when I'm going to be on your Doug Pagitt radio show.
Of course.
And this week I've been thinking about some people in our lives, good friends and family, that experience some kind of a little symptom. And my tip of the week is to pay attention to the little things,
okay.
The little ways that your body is communicating with you.
Yeah, so if you're not a hypochondriac, maybe hang around a few and sort of pick up a tip on paying attention to those little things.
This is not being a hypochondriac. This is noticing. So I'm thinking about, I'm not going to call somebody out, but somebody in our midst has a really chronic knee situation right now.
Mm-hmm.
And she's on crutches, and, this is no judgment on anybody. I think we do what we can do, in our circumstances when we're able to. So there's no judgment. It's just asking people to be aware of their bodies and in tune with their bodies, so that if you're experiencing something small or nagging, whether it be a headache or, a headache that is consistent or comes back in the same place, or back pain or knee pain or indigestion or whatever. Like, our bodies are always, they're trying to get our attention. And there's this idea that in kind of Western medicine, and when you take a kind of a topical over-the-counter, oh, I have a headache, I'm going to take ibuprofen or aspirin or whatever.
Okay.
Then what you're doing is it might relieve it for the time being, but in reality you haven't dealt with the cause of the headache. So headaches are easy, but it can go anywhere from, to toothaches to earaches to whatever. And rather than covering up the symptom with a pain reliever, that you listen to that at the beginning stages, do something about it, and I would be an advocate for doing something naturally. I mean, right now I'm at a co-op here locally, and there are so many awesome natural products that don't, they'll help relieve the symptom, but they actually help to ask the question and get at what is the source of the problem.
Yeah, and it is one of the things that people get frustrated with in the natural health world, right? Because they tend to say things like, well, yeah, you can do that natural remedy, but it doesn't work. And what they mean by work is it doesn't relieve the symptom in the same way that maybe a chemical-based pharmaceutical might relieve the symptom. So you kind of feel this tension then, that between people who want the symptom to go away and those who want to sort of address the larger issue. Because you're saying, like, don't just take an antacid or don't just take an aspirin.
Right.
Figure out what's going on with that.
Right, and there's a really good place in our culture for Western medicine.
Well, that's good.
It's necessary and it's important, but if we would listen to, like, and I can think of instances in my own life or whatever where I didn't understand, I didn't know what to do, and therefore I didn't pay attention to my body in the way that could have alleviated a larger problem down the road. And so I've just been thinking, like, if people would listen, they can contact me. I'm not, a medical doctor, but, there's different things that people like myself can guide people in so that they don't end up with a larger problem, but dealing with kind of the root of the symptom. And so I think some of the things I was thinking about, like for body pain, like it might be a need for a chiropractic adjustment, or this person I'm talking about actually did go to the chiropractor, and it was super good because the chiropractor said, maybe you need to address this with your medical doctor, and then she went in and it was more complicated issue. But there's also things along the natural line that can be done to strengthen bones, ligaments, relieve pain, ongoing things.
Well, yeah, and I guess it raises the issue that there are people on both ends of the spectrum, right? There's people for whom they just pass off any little problem or pain as, oh, I don't know, I'm getting old, or it's, I'll just take a symptom reliever. And then there's other people who every time something comes up, they have this notion that they're sick beyond cure. And I was kind of joking about the hypochondriacs, but there's a lot of people who, with every little sniffle, with every little sore neck, they go into a medical professional and ask for someone to solve that problem.
Right.
So, so kind of, I don't know. I'm not sure which side is more of a problem. It seems to me we're bankrupting our medical system by people going in for well checkups and all kinds of checkups on things that they probably should just be able to take care of on their own. No?
Right. Exactly. And that if we could take care of and do the well care on our own, and know, like, headaches are a really big issue, and I don't think people realize. A lot of times the source of a headache can be food we're eating that we're intolerant to. It can also be because it's, it's blood vessels that are enlarged. Yeah. That, why is that happening? And then thinking about the relationship to, that headache symptom to other symptoms that we might be having in our body, and kind of creating that overall health picture that your doctor is really not going to sit down and ask you those kinds of questions. To try to create a more holistic picture, to try to get at, what might be the problem.
So what does someone do? Short of hiring the best natural health coach in the world, what does someone do if they're like, I don't know, I feel a pain, but all I know how to do is put on a salve or take an antacid or take a vitamin or have an aspirin or something like that. What else is someone to do to figure that out? Because if you start tapping around the internet, saying like, oh, I have, pain in the right side of my head above my ear,
Right.
you're going to start to find some stories there that'll, put anybody on their
Okay, so that's a
fear
good question.
train.
Some of the things that I do is I put in the word natural treatment before I put in a symptom.
Uh-huh.
So I might do like natural treatment for acid reflux, or some other thing, natural treatment for knee pain or whatever it might be, joint pain, and then see what comes up. And then the hard thing there is trying to decipher what of those things is best for a person, because I think naturally people can go off the rails as well and be taking, way too many supplements, or thinking that every little new thing, like I like Dr. Mercola's website, but the thing that bothers me about that is that he is advertising for products and can make every single situation seem dire, and that you need to buy this and this and this and this supplement, which is really irritating.
Oh, there's no question.
So I think it's
the sky
also
is falling over there.
Yeah, kind of finding the balance in some of that stuff. But I think if you're looking on the internet, put in natural treatment for such and such symptom, and then maybe use that as your guide and use your wisdom to look through it and see, like, what can you take care of on your own, and then maybe come into a natural food co-op or something like that where they have the supplement section. And, don't bombard them. It's, they're doing lots of other things and they're not doctors, but you can ask a few questions and have them guide you to a supplement or a cream or their favorite, something. At least you're getting another opinion.
Well, that's natural health coach Shelley Pagitt, and she has a tip every other week for us. And you start putting these tips together, and you end up with a with a complete consultation on natural health life. And her tip for the week, and this is, I always set you up this way. Her tip for the every other week is
pay attention to your body and look into natural ways of helping it.
Pay attention to your body and look into these natural ways. So if there's something that's been chronically bothering you, see if there is a solution that can come in the natural health sense. Thank you, natural health coach Shelley Pagitt. And if you want to stay in touch with her, you can do that over at shelleypagitt.com. Thanks a lot, natural health coach.
And thank you, Doug Pagitt.
I was going to call her the mama because that's my wife, for those who haven't put the
later.
names together. Hey, Doug Pagitt Radio brought to you today by the Solomon's Porch Church Garage Sale. If you're a garage sailor and it's springtime and you got that spring, I want to own items that other people don't want to keep anymore kind of feeling, I'm looking for a deal. I'm looking for that 1977 beanbag. Well, Solomon's Porch Garage Sale, 100 West 46th Street, the corner of 46th Street and Blaisdell Avenue, just west of Nicollet Avenue. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, a massive garage sale. Find your way over there morning to afternoon, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for the finest deals in other people's unwanted items. Garage sailing. It's the garage sale season, bringing you Doug Pagitt Radio, religious radio that's not quite right, on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. And we'll be back with the Cripes, the Come On, and You Got to Be Kidding Me here after the break.